Right. Good evening, everybody. Um, nice to have you all here. Today, this evening, we're going to look at resistors and potentiometers. This is very easy, but yet it's important. So, if you don't understand anything at any time, please interrupt me and or ask me afterwards if you don't understand something. Now, a resistor, the what it does is in the name. It resists the flow of electrons. For the purpose from here on, we're going to only work with conventional current flow and not electron flow. So whenever we refer to anything, it is from positive to negative, unless it's explicitly mentioned that it's electron flow, then obviously you will know what to do with it. Now, resistors comes from very close to 0 ohms to several hundred mega ohms. Um, they also have different tolerances. The most common ones are 5 and 1%. You do get ones that is worse than 5%, but in general, with the electronics we use these days, we the worst one we will use is a 5%, but preferable to use a 1% because there's very little price difference between those resistors. And then you get also different power ratings. The most common one is a quarter watt, but they do come on in surface mounts at lower wattages. And then, of course, they go up to, well, the biggest one we sell is 20 watts, but you get monsters that's several hundred watts of resistance. Now, all electric components or has got symbols that is used in a circuit diagram showing how the components should be connected or the circuit should be connected, and these diagrams is known as schematic diagrams, and it consists of a whole bunch of symbols. Now, in the book, they give us a symbol of a resistor as a square with two lines at the end. There's actually two standards. You get the American standard and the European standard. Now, if I can get the correct picture. Ah, there it is. Let's find that and that. These are the two standards. Now, this is correct and that is correct. So you're definitely going to encounter the squiggly thing and the square one. So I've got a circuit diagram here, and you'll see there they show the resistor as the zigzag. They also mention that in the book. Um, so this is probably going to be the only one in the exam, but it's good to know that, when you encounter that zigzag, as they say here, older diagrams, the one I just showed you is brand new. That was for a Denon AV amplifier stage. So, sorry, that jump is my mouse. He's excited. Um, so the zigzag line is also a resistor. Right. So they've also made out of different materials. Now, the most common and the most inaccurate is the carbon film, and they're usually 5%. When you build precision measuring instruments, you would never use those, and you'll rather go for the metal film, which is generally 1%, and they also come in a power rating of 125 milliwatt to 500. Yeah, I think you do get them up to 5 watt. Um, but anyway, let's keep to what the book say, 500 milliwatt. Then you get a wire wound resistor, which can handle a lot of current, and it's usually used. You'll see later in the next chapter that you can actually measure, you can determine the current going through a circuit by measuring the voltage drop over a resistor. So these wire wound ones you will typically use in a power supply uh, as part of the current limiting circuit. But one thing that's very important, and this is also a question you're going to get in the exam, is wire wound resistors should never be used in radio frequency applications because they have an unacceptably high inductance. You will learn about effects of inductance later. Now, because it is a wire wound, it's a coil. And the coil is an inductor, and at with DC it's no problem. But the moment you put AC through it, it becomes a inductor, and there is a whole calculation to show you the difference between an inductor and a resistor. So if you want to build yourself a dummy load and you use a bunch of wire wound resistors, you're going to have a hard time. Your dummy load is never going to be a true dummy load. It's always going to be different, and it's going to change with frequency as well. Then sometimes a person cannot get the right value of resistor. Now, in general, everybody works on the Phillips values. And the Phillips values is typically 2.2, 3.3, 4.7, 6.8, and so on. 1K, then you'll get 1.2K, 2.2K, and all the way up, big, exactly the same. We call it the Phillips values. They are the most common. So whenever you design something, whether it's a power supply or just an LED that you want to connect to 12 volts, uh, you would know that you're probably going to have to use some Phillips value. But if you can't get to the correct value that you need, you can use a combination of resistors to get to the desired value. That's the one way. There's another way, but we're going to get to it now. Now, the resistors, and I'm sure whoever looked in an electronic device before have seen these little round things with the stripes on, thinking that it's complete Greek. It's not. It's a very clever system to determine the value of a very small component. Now, they've got a whole explanation here at the bottom, which will basically come down to exactly the same what I'm going to tell you now. The first color, the gold is always, gold and silver is always on the end. So you always read it from the other side. So your first color, you write down on the paper. The second color, you write down on the paper. And the third color is your multiplier, and that is simply the amount of zeros you add on to the end. So in this resistor's case, it's got gold at the end. We look at this now. Gold is a 10% tolerance, and brown's value is 1. So we'll write down 1. 0, and we'll add 2 zeros because red is 2. So this resistor would be a 1K because it's 1 0 with 2 zeros is 1 kilo ohm. And here is the color code. Now I have cleaned it up slightly. There's a little rhyme that we use, and it is bad boys rape our young girls, but Violet gives willingly. And then that's easy to remember, gold and silver. Um, so that's how I remember the color codes. And then, of course, each color is associated with a number from 0 to 9. And then your third color on the line is your multiplier, and then in this case it was red, which is 2, so we'll add 2 zeros onto the end. And yeah, so any resistor that you come across will have those color codes, unless it's a high power, like I think from about 5 watt resistors. 5 watt is mixed. You get some that has got the printing on the side, and then others with the color bands. But from there upwards, you're going to encounter just writing on the side. This, you've got to just learn the rhyme and then know which colors goes where. But I mean, it's not difficult, but very important because this is also points in the bank. Important thing is that when you go to your 1% and 2% resistors, some of them might have an extra band, because although the general thing is Phillips values, in some cases you can get resistors that's in between. And because of the low tolerance, they've added another band, which then would be you'll write your first 3 down, but the last one, excluding gold, would always be your multiplier. And I know my 1% resistors that we sell has got the four bands, which 3 is the value and the fourth one is the multiplier. Um, Now there's a specific way that we write the values of resistors. So if we have a 10,000 ohm resistor, we don't say we need a 10,000 ohm resistor. We will describe it as a 10K or 10 kilo ohm resistor. If it's a 3,3 thousand ohm resistor, we will describe it as a 3.3K. But the easier way, because the decimal can get lost with printing and when you handle a diagram a lot of times, um, to prevent that, they've actually used the kilo as a decimal point. So when you get a resistor that says 3K3, it means it's a 3.3 ohm resistor. Same with 1.5 meg would be a 1M5, which would be a 1.5 mega ohm resistor. But then you run into a problem, because when you get a 2.2 ohm resistor, you've got nothing to shove in there. So in that case, they will use an R. So a 2R2 resistor would be a 2.2 ohm resistor, or a 1R5 resistor would be a 1.5 ohm resistor. And the symbol for resistance is the omega sign. Now, in some cases, it's very problematic to get to the exact value of the resistor you're looking for. And you can also get into a situation where you want to change the value on a regular basis, like your radio's volume control. I mean, you're constantly changing it because then when there's background noise, you want it louder, and when it's quiet, you want to turn it down. And for that purpose, they have designed a variable resistor or a potentiometer, and it can also be called a rheostat. So if somebody tells you what is a rheostat, that means it's a variable resistor or a potentiometer. Just want to get my right picture. Now this thing consists of a tab A and a tab B, and then a carbon strip around here. You get also some of them that has got wire wound. You get high wattage variable resistors, and they are wire wound. And then you've got the wiper, and then the wiper is connected to the center pin in most cases. But you know what they say about assumption. So if you encounter, you will see when you will see a variable resistor that looks different to what you used to, and you will then measure that out. In general, the wiper is in the middle, and whenever you move the wiper, whatever is taken away in resistance on this side is added there, and vice versa. So the maximum, if you turn this wiper all the way down to over here, these 2 points would be short circuit, and these 2 points would be the maximum value of the potentiometer. So if, for argument's sake, this is a 10K potentiometer, the wiper is turned all the way this way, this would measure 10K, and this would measure 0 ohm. Should you turn the wiper halfway, you'll have 5K on the one side and 5K on the other side. And once again, whatever you take away from the one side gets added to the other side. So it is possible to get the connections on this the wrong way around. And then when you turn your volume control down, the volume goes up, and vice versa. And that does happen in the workshop. Luckily, not regularly, but frequently. Right, and then here is the symbols for rheostats, potentiometers. That is one of them. This one means, you'll see this one typically on a volume control. This means the arrow means that this one would be adjusted while in operation. One with a flat line like this means it's a preset resistor. So when they would set up the amplifier's bias, for instance, they would preset it in the factory, and then the user will not tamper with it afterwards. So this explains, you'll find this in a diagram. Unfortunately, not everybody keeps to the rules. And if you look on this amplifier, this is the bias circuit. This is supposed to be a preset, but they don't have it as a preset in this diagram. So person's got to use common sense when you look at these diagrams, because although there is a sort of a standard, not everybody abides by the rules. So there's your A and B and your wiper in the middle, and then here's a whole explanation of what I've just said, where You got a 10K value. If you turn it halfway, 5K, 5K. Closer to A, whatever you take away from the one side gets added to the other side. Total resistance, so that part we've done. Volume control for an amplifier, they are indeed correct there. Okay, summary. The resistor is the electronic component with a defined resistance, tolerance, and power rating. The tolerance is a percentage by which the actual resistance may deviate from the nominal value of the resistor. What they basically tell you that if you have a 1K, 1000 ohm resistor, and there is a 10% tolerance, that 1K resistor can be a, what's it, 1100 or a 900 ohm resistor. My mental math doesn't let me down. The value and tolerance of a resistor is represented using the resistor color code. The potentiometer or pot, that's the other name. But if somebody comes to you and say, listen here, my pot is dirty, then you don't put it in the dishwasher, you get some contact cleaner and you spray the potentiometer. And pot is a abbreviation, maybe a slang for a variable resistor. Right. The good news is that that's the end of that chapter. Let's see if we can answer the questions. Okay, a potentiometer is a. Now I want you guys to answer the question. So I'm gonna read the question and wait for you to pick one of the answers. Pieter, jy mag nie antwoord.
B.
B, that's correct. How can you determine a carbon resistor's electrical tolerance rating?
By using the color code B.
That is correct. Which of the resistors below, each identified by its color coding, would be nearest, and there my mouse takes me out, in value to 4K7? Right, now I'm going to tell you that yellow is 4, because obviously you've got to go and learn that, and green is 5, and red is 2.
Yellow, green, red.
That is correct. So very easy. What would the color code for an 820 ohm resistor, excluding the tolerance band, be?
Gray, red, brown. So D.
Correct. What would the value of a resistor with a color code orange, orange, orange be?
33 kilo ohm.
That's correct. That's C, is it?
C, yes.
Okay,
Oh,
good.
sorry.
No, it's just practice. It's just if you
Ugh.
know those codes and you've done it a couple of times, or like me, a few 100,000 times, you tend to remember it. A 10K resistor has a gold tolerance, so that's 10%. The actual resistance may be between
Is gold 5%? Or
Let me just check. Maybe I'm
Gold
wrong.
is 5, yes.
5%.
Gold is
Okay.
5%. That's correct.
So
Yes.
5%
B.
of 10,000 is 500. So it's B,
B,
plus
correct.
minus 500. Yeah.
Right. 2.2 ohm resistor might be labeled on a schematic diagram as
C.
See.
correct. Right. This one is a catch. The label 4meg7 on a circuit diagram could refer to
I say A, the resistance.
D.
Now we've had a discussion about this before in one of the previous classes, and there's no unit given there, so it can be volts, can be amps, could be ohms, so it could be any of the above.
Ah,
But if you
Oh,
look
so
at
is
the
that,
example,
no, you're right.
so
sorry.
if you look at the example where they give that one of 1,5 meg ohm, then they write that as 1 M5. So my understanding
Look,
would then be take that
the,
and say
the,
4,7 meg ohm.
I if somebody tells me I'm looking for 4M7, if the guy's got that written down on his paper and he gives it to me, I'm most definitely going to give him a resistor. What I usually do is I run these things through AI. You just bear with me. We've got lots of time left over. So let me just get a second opinion.
And in addition, I mean, we're dealing with the chapter with resistance, so that's why I went with that one.
That's it. Yeah, you know what?
So,
It's not wrong. I mean, that's what I also would think.
so I also
But it,
see it's, sorry.
yeah, carry on.
I see it's the RKM code, right? So I just looked it up on Wikipedia, and it says it's also used for capacitors, but it just mentions resistors and capacitors. But I'm not sure if, yeah, it could somewhere people have been using it for voltage or current before.
Yeah, that's one of those. Actually, what I should do is I must actually get clarity from the SARL so that we know how the examiner will interpret it, because he's gonna mark your answer sheet. So okay, I am wrong. The AI says that it refers to a resistor.
It's in A.
It yeah, my AI, which is, what's this thing's name? Gemini, says that the answer is A, it refers to a resistor.
That is also the answer that the SARL will be looking for.
Now I must just find myself again. Yeah, it's difficult because the way I look at it, that when you write an exam, the question might not be related to, I mean, the part that you do at that moment might not be, it might be related to capacitors, and there's no unit behind it. But anyway, let's keep to AI, and I'll take it up with the examiner and just ask him what is the answer for this, and then whatever he says, we'll go with. the circuit diagram for the circuit diagram for a resistor is. No, it's not a straight line.
Rectangle. C.
Rectangle, that's correct. Yeah, C. Which of the following types of resistors would be unsuitable for radio frequency applications?
C.
Wire wound.
Wire wound.
Wire wound,
Yeah.
correct. And then on Thursday we're gonna do that. Is there any questions? Especially from the people that are not in the electronic field, because for us that work with these things, it's very easy, but for people that are doing other things, that might be Greek. Right, if there's no other questions, I'm going to stop the recording and then we can have a general conversation for the next half an hour, or go back and refer to other things. If I can just find this thing.